And now, live from the studios of Freedom's Phoenix, Ernest Hancock.
Mother, mother, there's too many of you crying. Brother, 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 there's far too many of you dying.
Yeah, death, dying, and destruction. That's what we're dealing with. You know, and I'm wanting to try and make sure that we have less. I vote less. You know, let's have less war, less aggression, less hate, less taking my money, less spending, less debt, less. Now, one thing that I knew is going to be a big deal, and I'm sure you're probably aware of it, Paul. We're speaking to Paul Antinori. Now, he has a website. It's amendusconstitution.com. Oh, I'm sorry. Let me see.
That's correct.
.com, right? Okay. I want to make sure I was looking at it. Now, in here, you have, a phrase that I often use, and it goes, render unto Caesar, even God's earthly vicar admonished, render unto Caesar the things that are Caesar's. By amending the Constitution, we must be faithful to render unto Washington that which the founders clearly delegated, I thought it was already clear, delegated to Washington as specifically enumerated in the Constitution, but nothing more beyond that. We will render unto the federal government that which belongs to the central government, and unto the states that which is the state. So I got to ask you this.
Sure.
There is, you're at church and they always bring that up. Well, render unto Caesar that which is Caesar's, pay your taxes, do this, do that. And they keep making more by law that which is Caesar's. And I just have to ask the question. In church, I'll go, I just got a question. Is there anything that's not Caesar's? I just want to know. What is God's? Nobody defined it for me. I thought they did it in the Constitution. Well, they did it as good as they could. Of course, they were saying, God doesn't get black men. The white people do. So, it wasn't perfect. But the point is that I'm going, okay, let's go ahead and talk about that. What is Caesar's and what is not, in your opinion?
Oh, yeah. That's an easy one. What belongs to Washington is specifically enumerated in Article 1 of the Constitution. Article 2 is the executive powers of the president and what he's empowered to do, carry out the laws. Article 3 is the judiciary. The judicial powers of the United States are vested in the Supreme Court and any inferior courts that Congress may ordain. And all of the enumerated powers to raise armies and navies, to coin money, to declare war, all of those powers, to tax revenues, to appropriate funds, provide for the general welfare, regulate interstate commerce and foreign commerce.
You haven't listed one they haven't violated yet.
Pardon me?
You haven't listed one that they have not violated yet.
Yeah, well, I'm not going to give you an argument on that, Ernest. The biggest violations, in my opinion, which I call the two legs on which the giant Leviathan stands, are the Commerce Clause and what I earlier described as the Spending Clause. And that's why when I framed the petition for Constitutional Convention, I actually have framed it and worded it and put it in the back of the book, where you or on the website that you mentioned. You can download it and sign it, send it to your state legislator, and that would start a Constitutional Convention. If we could get 33 state legislatures, to request Congress for a convention, we'll have a convention.
Okay, now there was a couple of, they were just not too many years ago, they were only a couple of states short of getting that very thing.
Yeah, and it had to do with the, interestingly enough, the balanced budget proposal that we just saw bannered about in the last couple of weeks up there.
That's why I'm talking to you, because I knew the first big call they got a bunch of states was for Equal Rights Amendment.
Yeah.
Then they had abortion. Now they have balanced budget amendment. And this whole thing, whatever the excuse is just to get a freaking convention.
Yeah, no, let's be clear about that. The Equal Rights Amendment and the abortion, that did not go through an application for a constitutional convention. The balanced budget amendment was actually instigated by an organization called the, the National Taxpayers Union.
Yeah,
something along that line. They actually instigated a movement, and they got up to, I believe, Ernest, 30 or 31 states to sign on to that thing, but they fell two or three states short, and it never came to pass. That's as closest as we've ever gotten to a constitutional convention, because we've never had one in 220 years. My whole point is this. What's the alternative? The alternative is look about you, see what we've got. Look where we're going.
Yeah, I vote none.
I mean, do you like that status quo?
I vote none.
I abhor it.
None. You know, they go, Ernie, you're such an anarchist. And I'm going, compared to what?
Yeah.
You know what we got now? I vote none.
That's exactly
You know, so
right.
it's on a local level, on a national level, you have so many problems that, we'll just, I don't want to fix it. Well, you'll throw the baby out with the bathwater. It's Rosemary's Baby, man. I'm going, let it go, let it go, let it go. It can't possibly work. Oh, yeah, it can.
They're screaming for more stimulus spending. Did you know that? I mean,
there was a doubt.
Oh, absolutely. Now, listen, here's the situation. Let's address the issue you first raised, which keeps coming back and haunts us all. This thing
Runaway.
About the fears of a runaway convention, okay? All right, theoretically, under the Constitution, can you limit the subject matter that comes up on the floor of the convention by any delegate who wants to propose that we get rid of the presidency and appoint a three-council board of governors? Theoretically, you cannot limit what any delegate wants to propose on the floor of the convention. Now, practically speaking, as a reality, realistically speaking, that would never happen. And the reason I explain that through my essays and in the book is that there's so many, there's such a filtration process. There's so many filters. Committees on detail, committees on form and style, the same kind of committees we had in 1787.
You mean like in the Congress?
Huh?
You mean like they got all these committees and all the stuff you can't do in the horse trading in the Congress?
Well, no, these are constitutional.
Oh, so it'd be different. There'd be different people. I bet you it's the same people. I bet the same names.
No. By the way, no. If you, hey, listen, that's a good point. I would not recommend that if we do call for a convention, that any state in the selection of delegates allows a politician.
Oh, so they're just going to select them like they do juries. They're going to pull them out of the phone book. They're going to throw darts at a map. Is that how they're going to do it?
Every state, whether it's New Hampshire, Arizona, Florida, where I'm from, or Pennsylvania, where I also live, they would each have to decide for themselves, each of one of the states, what kind of selective procedure they're going to have.
We went through this in Arizona. I'm telling you, Paul. This was during mid-90s, when all this was going on. It was 92 to 94, around in there. Yep. Fife Symington's governor here. They created a committee. It was called the Arizona Constitutional Defense Committee, and unbeknownst to the people that were even on the committee, we found out from the inside what they were doing. They were creating this committee in order to kind of, we're going to defend and have the Attorney General is going to defend for states' rights against the federal government, and we're going to yada, yada, yada. At the same time, they're seating this committee with the people that they wanted to be the delegates to this Constitutional Convention if it happened. And they started seeing who these people were and what they were really trying to do about it. And, man, we were all over that as libertarian activists. We're going to look. Let me tell you what they're going to do, and these are the people that are going to represent you. These names seem familiar to you? Kind of bad, maybe? Huh?
Yeah, well,
huh?
Was that your governor or was that your legislature? You see, you should, if you're in Arizona, why not have a procedure where the people, by popular ballot, designate who the Constitutional Convention delegates
Yay, voting computers, another favorite of mine.
No. And have a screening process and a vetting process.
The point that I'm making with this, Paul, is that we went through this before. And we had long, drawn-out discussions in the Federalist and Anti-Federalist papers. And anybody reads the Anti-Federalist papers, you think they're clairvoyant. And you go,
I know.
This is like, we went through this with the many of the minds and at the times that they understood the definition of the words. They understood. And they didn't care. As time goes on, all they wanted, it was very clear, Jefferson understood this, all they wanted was the central power. As long as they got the central power, they get to do anything else they want. And guess what? They did. So I'm like looking for, the none government. I want, let's try none for a while. I vote none. Well, we're going to talk about that when we come back with Paul Antinori in just a little bit from AmendUSConstitution.com. We'll be right back.